Hello, all. Welcome to Black Girl in the World. If you don't know me, you will. And if you do, welcome back. How are you guys? I hope everyone's day is going well so far. And I hope that when I post this, it's nothing but all smiles and warm weather. Today, I have with me another musical talent. When I first listened to his songs, I thought to myself, wow, you can just cruise down I-95 listening to this. I like it. And actually, his newest songs, AI and Picasso, are my favorite. Hailing all the way from Wisconsin, Alan Ward, how are you today?
Thank you for that wonderful intro. I'm doing just fine, as we discussed. Just woke up from a little nap, so I'm feeling recharged for the second half of my day. So I feel pretty good. How you doing?
I'm doing pretty well. I'm breathing, and I love to see another person who takes naps very, because
I don't get why people have like shunned them. Like once you get older, like if you need to take one, take one.
That's what I'm saying. I take one like almost every day. What's the
I don't get why people are like, oh, you sleep. Well, I mean, if I need to, I take a nap.
I mean, we kind of have to stay alive, don't you think?
Exactly, right? If I didn't get enough, other sleep, naps aren't bad. We're a rare few. We're a rare breed, I guess.
Exactly. It's perfect. They're not going to understand us.
Never.
So, from your music, you give off this smooth dude vibe. And it's almost
Oh wow, that's a first. Okay.
it's almost like the two songs that I mentioned earlier kind of reminds me of Joey Badass in a way. So who is Alan Ward? Tell me.
Wow. So, who is Alan Ward? I'm gonna try to be a little bit nice to myself. I've been trying to work on that. I'd say I'm just he's just a basic dude who wants to get his story out there. Really, he just wants to get his truth out to the world. Nothing. I would say nothing special, nothing extremely unique about him by any way, shape, or form. But it's just someone who tries not to cap as much as he can in his raps and just tells a story about the world and his experiences from his eyes, from his thoughts, really. But wow,
And
that I never really get. I'm smooth, so I appreciate it.
of course, let me tell you, I love music like that. So I was just definitely like the same thought I had with Neo Soul is the same thought I had with you. So I was just like, it's nice. It's nice.
Thank you.
So how long has he been telling his story?
So officially been telling this story, starting this music thing for about 1.5, because we're at the 6 months. So about obviously about 1.5 years. I dropped my first actual like project in 2019. So ever since then, October 2019. So ever since then, I've been trying to advance, level up, grow in this music career, this music business thing, and hopefully see it to a point where I can kind of do that to support myself and the others around me and do the things I want to do in life. But the first time I actually started like rapping was in high school. I was 16 and I had some other friends who made music who were rapping. We would like cypher at lunch, things like that, rap at parties, the kind of typical story. And then, I finally just got to a point where I was like, let me just try to like get in the booth and like record. And so one of my first songs I recorded is on my first tape, the June EP, that the Goblin freestyle was just me like rapping over the Yonkers beat. So that was like the first time I like actually like got behind a microphone and like, had to like work on like my voice levels and like cadence and like, trying to like rap in front of like other people because like other people were there listening, things like that. So I guess the journey I somewhat kind of started 7 years ago. 8 years. Wow, 8 years ago. I just realized how old I am. I'm thinking I'm like 20 years old. I'm old. I'm real old. So like 8 years ago, I guess it kind of like sprouted that kind of music interest, but then the journey itself like officially started, I'd say 2019. So about 2 years ago.
I love that. You're actually hey, you're not that old. Okay.
I know, but I feel old, especially when I look at kind of music and people who are like kind of famous and bigger. It's a lot of young people, like people under like 21 years old, 20 years old, and it's like me being 24. It's like I feel like I'm too old to even kind of like start this. Sometimes is how I think, but then I realize how young, like in the spectrum of like life, 24 is.
I agree. I completely agree. And hey, there are some people who reach their full potential at such an older age than what we really think. So I think you're on a pretty decent path to being successful.
Thank you. I hope so. I hope
Of course, of course. So I saw you do a cipher at the Apollo, and I thought well, I mean, yours was the only one I saw, to be honest.
so. Got you.
But
Okay.
what was that like, and how did you feel about it?
That was like a super like crazy like feeling or experience, because I mean I kind of done like ciphers in a way, but they were always like with my friends, so we could kind of just we kind of like mess up and screw up and kind of say whatever, and it wasn't like it was a lot no pressure. It was a lot less pressure, and so in deciding to go up to like that cipher, I was really thinking of it more so as like, all right, this is just like, somewhat, because I still like pay to get there and staying at lodging, but it was somewhat like this is free promo in a way if I like show up and get there. And so I don't know, the experience of going there, once I got there, there are all these different like artists and creatives, rappers, singers, dancers, instrumentalists, spoken word artists, like there's all kinds of creatives there. And so the guy who was recording it, who was setting it up, he was like, we're only taking the best of the best. Like, we can't have every single person in the video, or else, because I think he still came out with like, I think it was 2 parts, and each video was about 10 to 12 minutes long. So, I mean, a lot of people still got in it, but I think after watching both and like knowing how many people there, I think only about half, maybe a little bit more than half, like actually ended up making the video. So that was kind of a big deal. But that the environment was kind of like, the best way to describe it was like lions at the zoo, really. Like it was just like because he kind of let us know what beats were going to be played, but you didn't know how long the beats were going to be played, how many times he was going to play the beats, things like that. And so everyone was kind of in that big crowd, and like it was just like, all right, if you're ready to rap, if you got your verse ready, like step up. And so you just kind of had to either be somewhat passive aggressive and like get up, get in, and get as many bars out as you could, or like me, I more so kind of like planned mine out. So like me, I was like, I'm a big, I wouldn't say perfectionist, but like when I make those kind of attempts, I try to make the most out of them. So I only really went up twice to try to spit a verse. So like the one verse you saw was like my first time going up. That was like the first one. So that's why that one was more important than the second one, just because, well, obviously I didn't mess up the first one, but it was my first time like kind of rapping in front of that big of a crowd with other rappers, creatives, artists, and things like that. And so it was like, I need to make the most of this. So like if I get this, at least I can go 1 for 1, even if I don't make the video. Like it's like if I go in, get my little 12, 16 bars off, I don't fuck up, I don't mess up, I don't, people don't boo me or whatever. Then I'll be satisfied. I'll be like, that was a job well done. Like this was definitely worth the trip. I wasn't really tripping on like making the video at first, but then once I finished my verse and then kind of hearing everyone before or after me, then I was like, okay, I need to really like make that. Like I hope I make this video. Like I think I should make this video. Like I went in, got my verse done, got it off clean, 1 for 1. And then I was pretty confident after that. And then I went in for like a second verse, and I got screwed up my second verse. Like I got a good amount through, but then I got a little bit too into myself and got a little bit too confident that I just ended up like forgetting some of the words and fucking it up. But I was happy to make the video, and it was just like I said, it was just kind of like lions at the zoo waiting for people to kind of feed them. It was like everyone was just sitting there waiting for the beat or waiting for the next person in front of them to finish the beat so they could hop on. So it was like, we were out there for like 5 or 6 hours just listening to beats, just on the sidewalk rapping. So it's like if you didn't get your opportunities because you didn't want to. And so that was the one thing. It was kind of like, if I'm going to do this, I'm going to do this. So go for it or don't. Like you didn't make this drive. You didn't come all the way out here just to kind of watch, unless that's what you wanted to end up being. So jumped in, got my bars off, people didn't boo, and I was good. I backed up. I was like, whew, hope I make the video now. But yeah, it was a good experience. I'm definitely gonna try to hit up that guy's whenever he's doing ciphers. I'm definitely gonna try to be there. And when anyone's doing ciphers, anyone near me, I'm definitely gonna try to be there now. Now I kind of have that experience, that confidence. The confidence booster was major, I'd say. So.
I think that's really cool. And I think just seeing ciphers, like especially like how now I don't fully support BET, but I did I did
I get it.
Yeah. I did appreciate the ciphers that they would have on their award shows.
Yeah. Definitely.
And how they used to do that in between their programming. Like long time ago.
Yeah.
So it's really nice to still see people doing it and doing it with people who aren't as famous or who don't really have much networking skills, I guess.
Yeah.
So it just kind of like proves that, okay, well, he has some bars. Let me network. Let me follow him. Let's collab and stuff. I think it's really dope.
Yeah, it was super. And that's kind of what it ended up being like towards the end. Like, yeah, because everyone would listen to everybody, and then, we exchange shows, we can talk and numbers and things like that. So yeah, that was also a big element of it too. Was it was a big networking opportunity as well. Yeah, I hope they keep going now that things are kind of outside's kind of back open, mostly for the most part. I hope people keep doing those kind of things.
I feel the same. And it should be bigger too.
Yeah.
At the end of that. So where do you see yourself in the next few years? Because I know that you just started this musical career. So where do you feel like where should you be at? And how far along should you be?
I mean, with me, I'm just a extreme like overthinker. So like, the artist creative in me could have told you like I deserved a Grammy off like my first mixtape, like the typical type thing. But like to be realistic, I kind of gave myself like a 2.5 year like goal with this like making music. Like if I wasn't at a certain point with it, if I didn't see some type of positive growth or trend, like I was gonna somewhat like give it up. Just because, not that I think it would be wasting time, but it was just like, I didn't want to keep investing all this money and time into something that I didn't see like growing or like getting better or improving. So I think right now I'm kind of on pace, if not a little bit ahead of where I think I want to be by the end of that 2.5 year goal. But I mean, we'll see. Kind of depends on my mindset. I might think, I'm not nearly where I should be. All kind of depends. But in the next few years, if I keep going, I'm hoping within like 5 years that I could, have some kind of, if not like a record deal, some type of like just either distribution deal or some kind of just like small label deal, just for honestly the money purpose, not for the recognition of being on the label, but just behind of having like that money so I can like market and push out. I'm hoping to have some kind of small independent deal maybe with a record label, just to help me network, push music out, things like that. And then ideally I like to have like my first like actual like album out by that within the next like 5 years, 3 to 5 years, I say. Because right now I just have EPs and mixtapes, so I kind of want to wait till I have like the means, the resources, the money I want to kind of make like an album, to make like a nice cohesive sounding project. So those are like my big goals for the next few years, I'd say.
Okay, that's really good to have goals for that and to try to figure out like where you want to be at, like the stability and stuff, and saying, hey, like if it don't work, I'm done.
Exactly. Yeah. Got to be real with myself. Like I definitely, I don't encourage that for like a lot of people. Cause like if it's something like, I don't think I'm ever going to never want to not like rap or anything like that. But pursuing the, just like, making that the career is, it's not easy unless you kind of have like those connections around you and things like that, or people to push you. So it's just, you have to be realistic with yourself. If it's not something that's gonna help sustain you or get you to, those next moments or next points in your life that you want to be at, then, it's better you just don't continue to waste time on it. But, positive thoughts. I'm thinking everything's gonna work out. 5 years, I'm gonna be on the, Grammy, billboards, everything. So I'm gonna be balling out. That's what's gonna happen.
Manifestation.
Yeah, exactly.
I want to see it.
Exactly.
So, what are your like influences? Like, who are your influences, and who would you like to collaborate when you get up there?
Got you. Music influences. I'm trying to think of like people I don't like normally say that I've been listening to recently, but it's always the same people. I'd say like J. Cole's definitely like was my definitely one of my first big reasons for getting so into rap younger, like in middle school. Earl Sweatshirt definitely is someone I tout very, very highly on my rap list. And one of my rap gods, I'd say, honestly. Vince Staples, as far as kind of how he moves in the music industry, is something I don't try to directly model myself off of, but definitely something I'd want to be if I ever were to get to that point. Um, ooh, I'm definitely missing somebody. I mean, you said Joey Badass. So Joey Badass was definitely someone when he kind of came on the scene, influenced me pretty heavily as well. Oh, Mac Miller, rest in peace. Definitely one of my, he's in my top 10 favorite rappers of all time, even maybe an artist, but he was definitely a big influence. One of the reasons I got kind of into rapping in the hip hop scene when I was younger. I'm trying to think any other big names. I think that's about it right now as far as like influences, like direct influences. I'd say those are like the big ones.
Those are all good people. I'm telling you, like,
Thank
we
you.
love it. Wow. Especially Earl Sweatshirt.
Yeah, big fan of Earl Sweatshirt. Always have been a fan.
So, you currently reside in Maryland, where I'm from. And I just wanted to know what's the difference between your hometown and on this end? And do you feel like you fit the culture?
Got you. Ooh, that's a good question. I mean, outside of culture wise, I thought we had really bad like potholes back in Milwaukee and Wisconsin, but like, yo, these ones out here in Baltimore are a mess. Like people need to fix these potholes out here. But outside of that kind of stuff, I'd say the biggest difference is there's more of like a blended diversity here in Baltimore, like in the spots I've been to. Like now I live in like Waverly, kind of like northern Baltimore, and then earlier in the year I lived in Fells, so like kind of where like all the main medical Johns Hopkins campuses. So I've kind of been in two areas where it's like there's a big like mix, like kind of a potluck of people. Like it's all kind of different races, shapes, sizes, colors, what have you. And that's not something I was not necessarily not used to all the time in Milwaukee, but it's something where it's like it was only in very, very few areas. It wasn't more so like, you can go to kind of any part of the city in Baltimore and kind of see like a mixed group of people. But in the city of Milwaukee, things are pretty segregated. So like you can kind of tell where things are being like divided up. Like where I am now, like I can look out like my window and like the burbs are right there, but like, then like the not so nice part of town is like a block behind me. So it's like everything's pretty like close. But in Milwaukee, things were like, you could see things separated by like the fences or like by like the street lines or by, things like that. So I'd say the diversity here in Baltimore is definitely more blended and more like, it's more universal. Like I see it across the city more than I did in Milwaukee, I'd say.
Okay. So I do love B More.
Yeah, I'm a fan. I'm a big fan.
I feel like it's its own state outside everything
Right.
else.
Right.
So what about music wise?
Music wise, I'm kind of trying to like get more into the Baltimore music scene. So like some people have been introducing me to some people out here. Like I've been listening to Butch Dawson. I know Shorty is kind of a big name out here. I'm forgetting someone. 4K Michael is someone else I've been listening to out here. Kind of getting into more like just DMV overall, like like Wale. I've been listening to more of, I'm trying to think any other like Baltimore specific people. That might be it. Oh, and then Jordan Bryant, who I found out is from Baltimore, who was on the that Dreamville, who's part of Dreamville. So yeah, I just kind of been the scene as far as like rapping or just the art scene seems is just more open and out there, I'd say. And like that just could be me now being kind of older and more into the music scene and knowing how to kind of research and like dive into where certain things are going on. Could be the reason why I've noticed that more out here in Baltimore than I did in Milwaukee. Because like in Milwaukee, I didn't really like, I wasn't really out there with my music like that up until I was leaving, basically, up until I was like kind of leaving for college. So I didn't really like know too much about the Milwaukee scene, like, but I know a tons of artists in Milwaukee just from like once I started doing music, we'll go back for like research purposes and things like that. But as far as like sound, um, I don't know. I hear more variety, I'd say, in like the DMV or like the Baltimore kind of hip hop, rap, trap kind of scene. I hear kind of more of a like variety as far as like the beats. And then in Milwaukee, I kind of only hear like what's popular. I only kind of hear like kind of one or two types. It's not it's either kind of like the alternative rap or like the typical like Milwaukee trap that you would hear. It's really like no kind of in betweens. Like you don't really hear a lot of like boom bap people. You don't hear a lot of just like traditional like hip hop people. You kind of hear like one or two ends of the spectrum. So that's something I've noticed as far as like the music out here versus the music at home or the culture out here. And then I don't know, maybe it's just the East Coast vibe. People are just more creative maybe out here. That could be it too. But yeah, those would be, I'd say, the big differences between East Coast and the Midwest living.
Okay, because I've never been on the West Coast. Like I'm always on the East Coast. Yeah, I've never been on the West Coast, so I honestly just know what I know through music and just seeing how like different people, are from different places, California, Washington State, all of that, and just listening at their own experience because I've never really seen it. I think it's dope. I think it's cool. I love the DMV. I love how diverse it is. So
I feel you.
So I think it's really cool that you get both worlds, I guess.
Yeah, definitely.
So my last question, because it's gonna be over. What advice would you give to the younger generation coming up and thinking about doing music?
I'd say the first like big piece of advice is like don't be scared to go for it. Just like, don't waste time thinking like, oh, I'm too young, or like, I have other stuff going on where I shouldn't be doing this right now. If you have a passion for it and you want to do it, try it. The worst that happens is it doesn't happen. But at least you know that you tried it, you gave it, the best effort you possibly could, and you at least saw it out to attempt to make that dream come true. So I would definitely the biggest piece of advice is just, don't be scared of what others are going to say about your passions or, what you want to do with your life. Go for it right away. Do whatever you have to do to try to get into it. And then the other thing I would say is just, don't be afraid to ask for help or look for help. Everyone needs it at some point. It's definitely something, me being like an only child, like I had like, I had to learn how to do a lot of things on my own. So I just kind of got used to doing things by myself and figuring things out by myself. But like now making the music, like I realized how important it is to kind of have a team around you, like a group of people around you that are like kind of supporting you in all the different aspects of music, not just, you rap nice, you should keep rapping. Like, just not having just like friends that are just, kind of those casual fans, but having like a team of people who can help you with all the different aspects of the music business. So those would be the two biggest things I would say. Don't be afraid to go for it right away. As soon as you kind of know what you want to do with your life, kind of start aligning your stars to fit that vision, that dream, and then, don't be afraid to ask or go get help when needed.
Did y'all hear that? I hope they did, because I think that's amazing advice to just give anybody, really, not to be afraid and to just, enjoy yourself and just have fun with it.
Exactly. We only here one time, so make the most out of it.
Exactly. Thank you so much for being here with me today and talking about who you are and who you'll become.
Oh, no problem. Thank you for having me. It was a pleasure. It was beyond a pleasure to speak with you and, get some things off my chest. I don't talk too much, so I enjoy whenever people have things to ask me.
And feel free to come back on my show. We can talk about like different stuff.
Absolutely. Well, my next EP to be the 2 singles, the Picasso and AI. And then I'm debating either 3 or 2 other tracks. When that drops, I would love to come back on the show. Absolutely.
I can't wait to listen to them. And thank you to everyone who stayed and listened. Check out the other episodes. And also, please give your platforms and where they should find you and follow you.
Absolutely. So is at It's Just Dez, ITSJUSDEZ, across all social media, Instagram, Twitter, Snap, TikTok, whatever you got social media wise. That's my at, and then my website www.itsjustdez.com. Be sure to go check that out. That'll have all my different like press releases, some videos, music, miscellaneous things, sponsor pages, all kinds of stuff like that. And then yeah, go stream AI right now. It's a bop, it's a classic. If you're hooping, if you're out riding your bike, if you're cruising down the freeway, if you're waking up in the morning, it's a vibe wherever you are. So go stream that.
Thank you so much again. Be safe. Listeners, be safe too. Thank you. And I'll see you soon.
Peace.